Jonathan, last we spoke was February. You just graduated from the Antler Accelerator and just started working on Clutch, your startup back then. When I got back to Tel Aviv, Corona had already started to have noticeable impact on the world, and naturally it changed your plans as well. Can you let us know what you've been up to since and where are things now?
Yes, the world had changed, and so did my plans. Unfortunately, COVID happened, and other than global pandemic, we also had to shut our operations with Clutch. Basically, what happened was we started Clutch actually earlier, mid last year around September, and just before the pandemic, when we were trying to raise our seed funding, the whole thing happened, and we had to stop the funding, and unfortunately, we didn't get what we wanted. Was February, March that time, and although we had our product with some of our companies, beta testers using it, this also was quite an unfortunate deal where our main user was a company that was doing a platform for events, and unfortunately, events were a non-existent thing during the pandemic, so they couldn't even utilize our product to that extent. So unfortunately, we had to shut down our operations, and these days we're actually winding down Clutch and giving back the rest of our funding to Enter, and each continuing on our own path. So that's where we are today.
I'm tempted to get into an interview mode and ask more questions about that process and that experience, but I know you're going through it as we speak, so I don't want to go too deeply. But what hurts is that you can see the second wave effects of Corona. So you're a startup that has absolutely nothing to do with Corona, theoretically not influenced, but because the company who was your design partner, your beta tester, had to pivot, then now you can fulfill your vision, and now the time to acquire a new customer and start the process again. You just couldn't afford it with the investment you had. It's an interesting place to be in as an entrepreneur. What is your experience like these days?
So it's a very interesting situation, which I don't wish that to any entrepreneurs where they are, and I believe that these kind of situations, they call for special measures. You have to really have to be strict and understand where you are at the moment with the team, with the funding, with the market, and you can't. We try to pause for a little bit and then wait until things calm down. But after a month, we saw that things are actually, becoming worse. And we then had to, we put a pin on the calendar saying, okay, this is where we make a decision and decide either we go this way or another, either we pivot or just change to, completely something else. And from my point of view, I think it's very important to be pragmatic and be decisive and not just go with the flow, because especially with this kind of situation, first wave, second wave, things can just go on, and it's unpredictable. The market is unpredictable, everything is unpredictable, and if you don't have a critical mission product that is ready to be delivered, then I suggest you do something else.
It's never easy getting to these points, having to close a company, especially with the momentums you had and the idea Clutch had. But I sure hope that in the future you will get to fulfill that idea when things calm down. And more than that, I hope that you power through this period of time. I know you're already working on something else, so maybe let's check in a couple of weeks and see how things are. And with that, I'd like to sign off and wish you the best in the future weeks. And my hope is that this situation is resolved as soon as possible. I know that the episode we've recorded is full of useful, interesting anecdotes from your experience so far. I mean, you've done VC, you've done corporate, you've done startups, you've done scale-ups, but you've never done a global pandemic. And it'll be another interesting story for the next time we meet. Jonathan, any closing thoughts before we part ways?
Thanks for having me, and I think you're doing an amazing job, and perhaps creating content is a great idea for pandemic situations. So I'm hopeful that Startup Nightmares is a huge success during this pandemic, and hopefully not the next one.
Thank you very much, man. It's not fun when someone else's complicated experience feed our creation, but I think we have a purpose to serve in this day and age, and I hope we'll do it justice. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch soon.